My name's Nick Coburn-Palo, and I'm fortunate enough to teach on the undergraduate side at Harvard, but even more so to get to teach at the Harvard Extension School, where I teach courses on management and government. I started teaching high school. I was involved in speech and debate, coaching that at a very high level. And then my students urged me about the age of 40 to go back to school. They said that you don't seem intellectually satisfied enough. And so at 40, I began my graduate school career, and I loved it. Being a student again, I would never have appreciated that experience anywhere near as much when I was in my 20s or even my 30s, to be honest. And as part of it, I'll always feel an incredibly close kinship to extension school students, because I worked while I was in graduate school, and I wasn't a bright-eyed and bushy-tailed 25-year-old necessarily, although they're wonderful to have in class. But when you work with people with that kind of life experience, it makes the class much more engaging, a lot more fun to teach. It's really among my favorite classes to teach. When the diplomats from the African Union were getting ready to go to the Rio Plus 20 Summit on Sustainable Development, I was brought in to train them on how to negotiate against the Western nations. During recent conflicts between Japan and South Korea over trade and the comfort women issue, I was brought in to help the South Korean delegation work on those issues. And I take those experiences and combine them with my work in the business world, where I've worked with a leading economic think tank for a number of years, where I've worked with a leading pharmaceutical firm, and I've recently started working with venture capital firms as well, because I feel like these lessons are very scalable across different areas. I get to encounter people who are mid-career professionals who are on the cusp of major leadership positions or see a lane, and they don't know how to identify and harness their particular set of skills. Because there is no one way to negotiate. There is no perfect style or persona. It's about figuring out what works for you given your style and the context you're in, and the ability to diagnose that on the fly. And with extension school students, they have enough life experience and perspective, you can get to that very quickly, whereas it would take weeks for younger people to get there. A lot of these classes are in the evening. Students are tired. A lot of these classes go for 2 or 3 hours at a time. And I'm a good enough teacher to recognize no one can stay in that hot zone, especially after a day of work. So you need to design your classes that way, in that manner. You need to make the professionals feel like you respect their time, because they're giving up valuable opportunity cost time. They could be getting ready to work with a client tomorrow. They could be spending time with their family. They're just spending time with you. And so it's really your obligation to not just bring your A game as a teacher, but to really make sure it's the best fit for them.